What was it like going from where'd you grow up exactly?
New Orleans.
New Orleans to San Diego and then to Indianapolis.
All culture shocks.
Yeah.
All culture shocks. It's like, I'm talking night and day, man.
What was
I remember before we get to that, I remember going to the combine. So I leave San Diego, I fly to Indianapolis for the combine. It's cold. Like it's like this time of the year in Indy. And it just had like one of the worst blizzards. And I never been in snow. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh my God, it sucks. This is awful. I would never live here. With the second pick, Indianapolis Colts take Faulk. I'm like, oh my God.
Take us through your thought process. Probably pumped second round or second overall, but at the same time, you're like, damn, I got to go to Indianapolis.
Man, I was just like, that's all I was thinking about was the winter time. I was just like, man, this how cold it was when I was there. So I was happy that we played indoors. But at that point in time, they didn't have an indoor practice facility.
So you're out there in the wintertime?
Yeah. My first year, we didn't have an indoor practice facility. Man. So it was it wasn't as bad as I thought. It's so different when you like in college how you see things to in the pros. Like you grow up real fast when you're a rookie halfway through the season. It starts to get cold, and you're in the locker room and you're in the huddle, and these grown men. These like grown ass men. And they're like, like my job's on the line. Hold on to the ball.
Yeah.
So you're like, man, this this guy got to feed his kids. Man, he got like the game for some people. It's not really a game. It's like it's their livelihood, and they take it serious. And that's like a whole nother transition. Seeing the game for what it is, but trying to make sure that it's still fun for you because the fun can go out of it real quick.
That's got to be like the hardest thing though, is realizing how much of a business it is, especially like high school. Like all your boys, like you win in 6 games your entire, but every single Friday the boys are hyped up.
Yeah.
After, I don't know how it was for you boys, but hey, it's like how we're gonna find a 12-pack of beer after this, chase a couple girls around. Like
same thing.
But you're all kind of like doing your thing. Then you go to college and it's like a little more, obviously more serious. But like no one's married, no one has families. Like you're still like all as a community going and doing the same thing across San Diego.
You're all chasing the NFL.
Yeah, and you're all chasing the NFL, and you get to the NFL, and it's like now you're 21 years old, and there's 32-year-old dudes, 3 kids,
grown men.
They go, they do their business, and they leave. And you're like, yo, you wanna hang out? And they're like, nah, dog. What are you talking about? I'm gonna go see my family.
Yeah.
Like, how difficult was that for you to like, kind of like realize and keep the fun when it was so business?
Yeah, you. Obviously, like you got to have the right support system around you, because a lot of the dudes in the locker room, they're not. When it's over, you're not going to play Madden. Like you're not going to hang out.
Yeah.
And your priorities start to change, and you start to understand how much of a business it is, and you have to start. Yeah, the game is fun, and you're getting paid a lot of money, and it's a business, and they expect you to do your job. And if you don't do the things you're supposed to do, the fun can go out of it really quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
really quick.
How do you feel like your professionalism and like acclimating yourself to the league as a running back developed over time, especially as a younger guy, like you were alluding to, talking with Christian about like maintaining your body and everything like that. Like, how did you develop as a pro in the early part of your career?
What I told him and the things that I say to him, Emmitt Smith told it to me. Thurman Thomas told it to me, Ronnie Harmon, like these old heads, if you ask, the veterans will tell you what to do. Like they'll give you the information on how to have a long career and how to last and how to continue to be productive in your latter years. It wasn't a hard thing. Actually, what is hard is early in your career, making sure that you, during the off season, you remain in shape. You don't go party with your boys. Mm-hmm. Late in your career, making sure that you value the time that you get to train and don't, I got to take my kids here. I got to go here with the wife. The time that we get, those 13 years that I played, it's like a blip in my life. Like it was such a fun time, but when I look back at it, I was like, man, that seemed like so long. But it went so fast. Yeah. So cherishing in the moments that you have and the responsibilities to making sure that you are the best that you can be. Mm-hmm. It's a responsibility that you got to take on, because when I'm in the huddle, you know what I want you to know when you're looking at me? That you can count on me. Mm-hmm. I want you to know that I did the things that I was supposed to do in the off season to be here, and I got you. And I need to know you did the same thing.
Yeah.
How was it difficult for you to ask for that guidance and help from those older guys?
No, no. I'm the youngest. I got 5 older brothers. I'm the youngest of 6, and I learned, I learned by watching them and asking them, and I didn't have to repeat. They paid the dummy tax. I didn't have to pay it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Being the youngest, you kind of have to go about it like the humble way, because if not, your older brothers will humble you.
Yeah. We're both the oldest. Go ahead, Bob.
No, did you have one?
Yeah, I was gonna say, was there ever like somebody you reached out to for help that was like, you got to figure it out for yourself?
Nah, because I was always selective. What I did was I made sure that I formed some type of relationship with the person before I engaged and asked for help. And I think that's what you do. You just call somebody up and say, hey, you don't ask them about their life. You don't find out about anything that motivates them. You don't find out if y'all have any commonalities. You just ask them. I mean, that's kind of cheesy. You
Right.
call somebody and you get to know them, and that's what Christian did. He said, hey man, I'm a big fan, huge fan of yours. Always loved your game. Like we had a conversation about where I was at in life and what I was doing and how things are going before we got into anything about ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's just a respectful way to go about it.
Who was that rival running back that you always just kept your eye on? That you're
All
like,
of them.
"This-"
All of them. Every back that I took, I didn't care where you were drafted, how good you were. I wanted to be the best running back on the field. Actually, I wanted to be the best football player on the field, period. That's what I always thought about. I never looked at it as a position. Like I always looked at myself as a football player. Like I wasn't a running back or receiver or slot. Like I didn't want labels. I was like, I can play the game. I'm a football player.
Right. What was I gonna ask? It was so tasting the business for the first time. Like you get traded to St. Louis. Before you get traded, you have some turf toe that you're battling the couple years before.
You did your homework. Look
Yeah,
at you,
bro. Hey, listen, man.
Man.
You're Marshall Faulk. Like I grew up in Missouri. Like
Nice.
you're on the Madden cover.
Uh-huh.
Seeing the jerseys transition to navy blue and gold. Like you're Marshall Faulk. So yes, I know a little bit about you, but tasting the business for the first time, like walk us through that. Like, cause you're drafted second overall. Like you're the man. And then all of a sudden you get traded for a couple picks to St. Louis. Like talk about that relationship and kind of seeing the business for what it is with Indianapolis.
Yeah, I was ready for a change, and I think Indianapolis they were as long as because my last year there in '98, I almost did 1,000. Like I was like we sucked, but I had an amazing year. I almost did 1,000.
Yeah.
And we only won like 3 or 4 games, so I was putting in work. But what they realized was that people were still following me. I was the leader, and they wanted it to be Peyton's team. So moving me kind of took a security blanket away from Peyton, which actually allowed him to grow up because the next year they went 13-3, and he took charge of the team. That was kind of his leadership way. But for me, that happened. But in the move, accepting the fact that it was time to go, and it's kind of like I kind of needed it in a sense because when you walk into a new locker room and there's guys and it's like you got traded, you got this big contract, they looking at you, you looking at them, and it's like who the hell is this guy? Who does he think he is? And you go from a locker room to where you're proven to a locker room where you have to prove yourself, and it puts you back, like it gives you that edge back. I got that edge back, and I was like, okay, I like this. I gotta earn their respect before they believe I can lead them. And if you accept it like that, then the business is easy to deal with.
Gotcha.
How long did it take you to earn that respect in your mind? I mean, obviously you were extremely established. I'm sure it didn't take very long, but
I mean, the boys won the Super Bowl.
It actually took. I'm gonna tell. I'll be honest. It took a few games. I'm gonna tell you. We were. I think we were 6-0, and I barely touched the ball, and I had not won games in the NFL without touching the ball that much. Like I think the first game I touched the ball 12 times. The next game like 13, maybe 15. But I think we were 6-0, 5-0 or 6-0, and we're in Tennessee. We're playing the Titans, and they're giving us the business.
Yeah, it's a real ball club right there.
They're giving us the business.
Established ball club. It's a hard-nosed ball club.
I'm just telling you. We go into the locker room. I go to Mike Marks. I say, Mike, I understand you being judicious. Just come to me. And so we come out. the first like 5 or 6 plays, the ball goes to me, we score. And so I kind of took over the game. We were down like 21, maybe 3. And we ended up tying it up 24-24. And they got the ball, drove down and kicked the field goal in overtime. But they had not seen, like I literally took over the game. And that's when they were like, okay, like, all right, we see who this guy is.
Right.
Before that, you know, I was just like, I was coasting. I hadn't really taken over a game or played up to my potential because I was just a part of the offense. I was doing, you know, 5, 8, 10 yards, 20 yards, score a touchdown here. We didn't need to dominate, but like I was like, Mike,
Feed the boy.
like,
Yeah.
Have you always been a guy that's like, hey, give me the ball, or was that a new thing for you to do to kind of like? That takes a lot of nuts
that
to
was
go in there and
that was always
that.
my personality was like, if we're going to win if I have the ball. That's like, if I'm getting the ball, we are going to win. That's like, that was always my personality.
That's like a standard textbook personality trait of a skill position guy that you need.
Probably so.
You need that. Like AJ Brown, playing with him with the Titans, like he was a guy that like he's not getting a lot of catches. He's like, do y'all want to win or not? Like you need to give me the football.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys can look at that as like selfish guy, not thinking about the team, but like you want dudes to have that kind of confidence and that kind of like
Have that edge.
have that edge of being like, I can truly make a difference any point in the game at any time.
Yeah, I went about it a little different because, I mean, I played with Ice Bruce, Torrey Holt. So
yeah.
I was always like, Mike, look, no problem. Like we start the game, you throw it, no problem. But when it get real, like, hey,
You know where to go.
hey,
Yeah.
like when he know when I start looking at him, like, hey,
Yeah.
like
Let's get going.
score a little too close.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was it like playing with Peyton just coming into
It was fun, man. It was fun. It was fun. Like watching him learn the game. Because he had all the attributes, but the speed of the game was just a little different. Like your first year for a quarterback, it's moving fast. Like faster than you ever thought. And he threw a bunch of interceptions. And I mean, we used to walk off and he used to, I just didn't think the guy could get there. I didn't think the guy could get there. And then one time I was just like, hey, Peyton, it's the NFL. Everybody can get there.
Yeah.
Like it's a little different, man. All these dudes are dudes, man. They were at some point in time, they were the best person on a team.
Yeah.
All of these dudes in the league, like they're dudes.
With obviously that rookie year throwing all those interceptions, did you expect him to have the career that he ended up having?
Oh yeah, you could see it.
You knew it immediately.
Because it was all like every mistake was a new mistake, and he didn't make the same mistake twice. Once he made that mistake, he filed it away. Never made the mistake again.